Okay, so let's unpack this. You are currently staring down the barrel of the Cambridge IGCSE physical education exam.
Right, the 0413.
Yeah, or maybe it's 0995, depending on your region. But I mean, the feeling in your stomach, that is universal. You've got your anatomy, your physiology, and then you hit this massive, intimidating wall of terminology called the components of fitness.
It definitely feels like a wall when you first look at the syllabus. It's one of those topics that seems deceptively simple on the surface. We all think we know what strength or speed means.
Sure.
But when you actually have to write the definition down for an examiner to get that mark, saying something like just being strong or running fast just isn't going to cut it.
Exactly. And that is really our mission for this deep dive. We're going to take that wall and brick by brick turn it into a nice organized path to an A star.
I like that approach.
We are working from a really high-yield stack of revision materials today provided by Revise Direct. Specifically, we're looking at their complete components of fitness breakdown.
Yeah, it's a fantastic resource because it just strips away all the fluff.
It is the ultimate cheat sheet in a good way.
Yeah.
We are going to cover the definitions, the examples, and the part everyone absolutely dreads, the test protocols.
The dreaded protocols.
By the end of this, you should be able to visualize exactly what you need to do in the exam hall.
And honestly, more importantly, you'll understand why we classify fitness this way.
Yeah.
It's not just a random list of 10 things, there is an actual logic to it.
So help us find that logic. Where do we even start?
Well, we need to set the scene first. In the IGCSE syllabus, fitness isn't just one big blob. We split it into two distinct buckets. You have health-related fitness and skill-related fitness.
I like buckets. It helps organize the chaos in my brain. What's the difference?
Think of health-related fitness as the engine room. This is about the body's functional health, your basic physiology.
Right.
Can your heart pump efficiently? Can your muscles last? Can you reach your toes without groaning? It's really about general well-being as much as it is about sport.
And the second bucket.
That would be skill-related fitness. I like to call this the performance lab. It's driven much more by the nervous system.
Ah,
It's about the quality of the movement, your timing, balance, reaction, coordination. You can be incredibly healthy in the engine room, but have just terrible coordination in the performance lab.
that sounds painfully familiar, actually. I mean, I can run a 5K, but please don't ask me to catch a tennis ball.
Exactly.
Okay, let's dive into the engine room first. Segment 1, health-related components. What is the absolute foundation here?
We have to start with cardiovascular endurance, which is sometimes called stamina.
The big one.
It really is. If this system fails, the car stops. The definition you need to lock in, and I mean memorize word for the exam, is the ability of the heart, lungs, and blood to deliver oxygen to working muscles during prolonged exercise.
Key words there being heart, lungs, blood, and oxygen.
Precisely. It's your delivery system.
Yeah.
If you're competing in a marathon, long-distance cycling, or say you're a midfielder in football running for 90 minutes, this is your primary component.
Because you just physically cannot keep going if the system fails. Your muscles run out of fuel.
Exactly right.
Okay, so how do we test the engine? Because looking at the Revised Direct materials here, I see the one test that haunts the dreams of every PE student.
I assume you mean the multi-stage fitness test.
The beep test. Just saying the name makes my lungs burn. Why is this the gold standard?
Well, it is infamous for a reason, but for the exam, you need to know the specific protocol. It involves continuous 20-meter shuttle runs.
Right.
You run between two lines, keeping time with audio cues, which are the beeps.
And the catch is that the beeps get faster.
They do. The time allowed between the beeps decreases as you move up the levels, meaning you have to run faster. It pushes you to your absolute maximum oxygen uptake, your VO2 max.
So when does it actually end? Is it just one strike and you're out?
See, this is a really common exam mistake. You actually get a warning. The test ends when the participant fails to reach the line on 2 consecutive occasions.
2 consecutive occasions. That's a specific detail I always forget. I totally thought you were just out the first time you missed the beep.
No, you get a lifeline. Now, there is an alternative test for this component mentioned in the syllabus, which is the 12-minute Cooper run.
Which sounds slightly more humane?
Maybe a little. In the Cooper run, participants run or walk as far as they can in exactly 12 minutes. You simply record the total distance covered.
Right.
It's less about keeping to a forced rhythm and much more about a self-paced, sustained effort.
Got it. So beep test is paced by the audio. Cooper run is paced by the athlete. Let's move to the muscles then. Muscular endurance. How is this different from just being strong?
That's a great question. Strength is about maximum force. Muscular endurance is about repetition. The precise definition is the ability of a muscle or muscle group to undergo repeated contractions, avoiding fatigue.
Avoiding fatigue. That's the phrase that pays right there.
It really is. Think of a rower. They aren't just doing one big pull.
Ah.
They're doing hundreds of pulls over a 2,000-meter race.
Right.
Or a rock climber holding onto a wall for 20 minutes. If they had strength but no endurance, they'd be great for the first 10 seconds and then just fall off.
And what's the test for this one?
The multi-stage abdominal curl conditioning test.
Wow, that is a mouthful.
It is. It's essentially the beep test, but for your abs. You perform sit-ups or curls in time with audio cues. The test ends when the participant can no longer keep up with the required pace.
So it isolates that specific muscle group and tests it essentially to failure.
Exactly.
Okay, let's talk about the heavy lifting now. Strength.
Short and sweet for this one. The definition is the ability to overcome a resistance.
I love how simple that is. Overcome a resistance.
Simple, but it covers a lot. That resistance could be a barbell, it could be your own body weight doing a pull-up, or even an opponent in a rugby scrum. A weightlifter performing a 1-rep max lift is the classic example here.
And I see 2 tests listed for this in the notes. Why 2?
Well, one requires a gym, and the other is a bit more portable. The first is the 1-rep max test. This is exactly what it sounds like. You lift the maximum weight possible for a single repetition with maximum effort. It measures absolute strength.
But I'm guessing not everyone has a gym full of weights or might not be super safe in a typical school setting.
Correct. So we have the hand grip dynamometer test. This is much more specific. You hold a device called a dynamometer, usually with your arm down by your side, not touching your body, and you squeeze the handle as hard as you can.
I've actually done that one. It's surprisingly competitive. You think you're going to crush it and the needle barely moves.
Yeah, it isolates forearm strength, but research shows grip strength is actually a very good proxy for general upper body strength.
All right, last one for the engine room. Flexibility.
The range of movement possible at a joint.
Range of movement is the key phrase.
Correct. Think of a trampolinist performing a straddle jump. They need their legs to go wide and high. If the range of movement at the hip is poor, the trick just fails. Or a swimmer needing flexible shoulders for an efficient stroke.
And the test, I think everyone probably knows this one from primary school.
The sit and reach test. But be careful with the description for the exam because there are specific rules. You sit on the floor with your legs straight against a box.
Legs straight is the critical part, right? No bending the knees.
Exactly. If you bend your knees, you're cheating the hamstring stretch. You reach forward as far as possible along a measuring scale on the box. And you have to hold the position for about 2 seconds. No bouncing allowed.
Right.
The score is the furthest distance reached.
Okay, so that's our engine room sorted. Cardiovascular endurance, muscular endurance, strength, and flexibility. Now let's wipe the grease off our hands and step into the performance lab. These are the skill-related components.
This is where things get a bit more flashy. This is the nervous system taking over.
First up, we have agility. This is moving like a cat, right?
In a way, yes. The definition is the ability to change the direction of the body at speed while maintaining control.
Maintaining control. That's the catch. Because I can certainly change direction at speed, but I usually end up in a hedge.
Well, then that's not agility. That's just falling with style. A rugby player dodging a tackle is a perfect example. They cut left, they cut right, but they stay balanced and ready to run.
How do we actually test that?
The Illinois Agility Test. Now listen closely to the setup for this because it frequently comes up in questions. You start lying face down on the floor.
Wait, face down, not standing.
Face down, hands by your shoulders. This simulates getting up from a fall or a tackle. On the command, jump up, sprint 10 meters, weave in and out of a set of 4 cones, sprint back. It's a complex little course. Your total time is the score.
Why face down, though? That seems so incredibly specific.
It adds that neuromuscular component of switching from a prone position to a sprint. It's
Yeah.
very relevant to sports like football or rugby.
Makes total sense.
Okay.
Okay, next up is balance.
The ability to maintain the body's center of mass above the base of support.
That sounds suspiciously like a physics lesson.
It is physics. Your base of support is your feet or your hands if you're doing a handstand. Your center of mass is roughly your belly button. Keep the belly button over the feet and you don't fall over.
And there are 2 types listed here in the source material.
Yes. Static balance, which is holding a still position like a gymnast doing a handstand, and dynamic balance, which is staying upright while moving, like snowboarding or skateboarding.
The test here looks kind of like a yoga pose gone wrong.
The standing start test. It measures static balance. You stand on one leg, you place the other foot on the inside of the standing leg, usually right against the knee,
Free pose.
basically. But here's the kicker.
Hmm.
Hands on hips, and you have to raise the heel of the standing leg off the ground.
Oh, so you're up on your toes. That makes it infinitely harder.
Much harder. You are balancing on a tiny surface area. You hold that position as long as possible. The moment your heel touches down or your hands come off your hips, the timer stops.
Got it. Okay. Coordination. Making your limbs talk to each other.
The ability to use two or more body parts together smoothly and efficiently?
Two or more. So like hand-eye, foot-eye.
Exactly. A tennis player, timing their swing to hit the ball, they have to see the ball with their eyes, move their feet with their legs, and swing the racket with their arms all at the exact same time.
And the test is the Anderson wall toss.
Yes. You stand exactly 2 meters from a wall. You hold a tennis ball in one hand, you throw it against the wall, and catch it with the opposite hand.
Left to right, right to left.
And repeat for 30 seconds. The score is the number of successful catches. It requires a lot of focus and rhythm.
I feel like I just end up chasing the ball across the gym. Now, this next one is my favorite because it involves an actual formula. Power.
Power is fascinating because it's a combination component. The definition is the ability to exert maximum muscular contraction instantly in an explosive movement.
Explosive. That's the key word.
But here's where it gets really interesting mathematically. Power equals strength times speed.
Strength times speed. So you absolutely need both.
You do. Think about a tractor. It's incredibly strong, but it's slow. No power in the athletic sense. Think about a hummingbird. Incredibly fast, but weak. No power. A shot putter needs to be strong to move the heavy ball, but they also need to move their arm fast to generate the distance.
That makes total sense. So if you want to be more powerful, you either get stronger or you get faster.
Exactly.
And what's the test?
The vertical jump test, sometimes called the sergeant jump. You stand sideways to a wall, reach up as high as you can to mark your standing height. Then you dip your knees and jump vertically as high as possible, touching the wall at the peak of the jump.
And the score isn't just how high you touched on the wall.
No, the score is the difference between your standing reach and your jump height. It specifically measures explosive leg power.
2 left in the performance lab. Reaction time.
The time taken to initiate a response to a stimulus.
I want to note the word initiate there. It's not about finishing the movement, it's about starting it.
Correct. It's the split second between the starter pistol going off and the sprinter pushing against the blocks. It's pure nervous system speed.
And the test involves a ruler. This is one we can literally do right here at the desk.
The ruler drop test. You need a partner. You sit or stand with your hand open, thumb and index finger ready to pinch. The partner holds a ruler vertically, so the 0 mark is hovering right between your fingers.
And then?
Without warning, they drop it. You have to catch it as quickly as possible. The distance the ruler falls, basically where your fingers land on the scale, is your score.
The without warning part is crucial, though. If they say 3, 2, 1, drop, it's not a reaction test anymore. It's anticipation.
Exactly right. You are testing the time it takes for the eye to see the movement and the brain to tell the fingers to close.
Finally, the last component in our performance lab, speed.
The maximum rate at which an individual can perform a movement or cover a distance in a period of time.
Speed. Fast. The 100-meter sprinter.
Simple as that. Ideally, we're talking straight line speed.
And the test for this one.
The 30-meter sprint test. From a stationary start, and that's important, no running start, you sprint 30 meters as fast as possible. The time taken is recorded.
Why 30 meters, though? Why not a full 100?
Because 100 meters starts to bring endurance into play. 30 meters is pure acceleration and top speed.
Okay, wow. That is all 10. We've covered the engine room, cardio, muscular endurance, strength, flexibility, and the performance lab agility, balance, coordination, power, reaction time, and speed.
It's a very comprehensive toolkit.
So what does this all mean for the listener? How do we synthesize this for someone who is actively panicking about their exam?
Well, the first thing to realize is that in the real world, these components rarely work in perfect isolation.
Right. You don't just use agility and then pause the game and say, okay, now I'm going to use strength.
Exactly. Look at a goalkeeper in football. They are balancing on their toes, which is balance, watching the striker. They see the kick, which is reaction time. They dive, explosively utilizing power. And they reach for the ball, which requires coordination.
That's 4 different components in less than a single second.
Correct. The real takeaway here is understanding that while we define them separately for the exam, they completely overlap in performance. The components are the ingredients, but the athlete is the baked cake.
I love that analogy.
Mhm.
And for the actual exam strategy, if I'm sitting there with my pen in hand,
Yeah.
what's the #1 tip you can give?
Memorize the exact definitions. I really cannot stress this enough. If the question asks for muscular endurance and you write working muscles for a long time, you might lose the mark because you didn't say avoiding fatigue or repeated contractions.
Precision gets marks.
Precision gets marks. The examiner has a checklist, so just give them the exact words on their list.
And try to visualize those tests.
Yes. When you're revising, close your eyes. Picture the Illinois agility run. Picture the person actually lying face down on the floor. Picture the stork test with the heel raised up. If you can see the starting position, you'll remember the protocol.
Don't mix up your 30-meter sprint, which is a stationary start with a flying start. Details definitely matter.
They do indeed.
Okay, we're coming into the home stretch here. We've broken down the definitions, the buckets, and the protocols. Before we go, give me one final thing to think about, something to really chew on.
I want you to go back to that equation for power. Strength times speed. It's a profound concept for training. Think about yourself as an athlete. Are you incredibly strong but slow? Or are you incredibly fast but relatively weak?
Like the tractor versus the hummingbird example.
Exactly. If you want to increase your overall power, you don't just train power blindly. You have to identify your limiting factor. If you're the tractor, you need speed training. If you're the hummingbird, you need to hit the weights. The equation literally forces you to be honest about your weaknesses.
I love that. Find your limiting factor. Identify the variable you actually need to change. That applies to studying too, right? Like, are you reading a massive volume of notes but not actually retaining it efficiently?
It absolutely applies to everything.
Well, consider your limiting factors identified. Now, here is your call to action. This deep dive was powered by the phenomenal materials from Revise Direct. We talked about a lot of specific definitions and diagrams today, and you do not have to just memorize them from listening to us.
No, you really should go see them visually.
Go to revisedirect.com. You can download the exact infographic we discussed today, and even better, get the exam questions on this specific topic and check the mark schemes.
The mark scheme is the answer key to your future. You need to see exactly what the examiners are looking for.
Go to revisedirect.com, grab the goods, and go crush that 0413 or 0995 exam. You've totally got this.
Best of luck to you.
See you next time on The Deep Dive.